the savage giantess. The twin suns of planet Zilara were high in the sky. The jungle boiled with heat and noise. Every tree shook with the cries of strange beasts. In the middle of it all, something big was moving fast. Rava ran like a storm. She was 10 feet tall with dark silver skin, glowing yellow eyes and hair like black fire. Her muscles rippled with power as she chased the beast through the thick jungle. Her tribe watched from the rocks above. Even they stayed far away. The creature she hunted was strong, a 6-legged monster with thick armor and claws like blades. But it was no match for Rava. With a mighty leap, she landed on its back. Her roar shook the trees. She drove her spear deep into its skull. The creature screamed, then collapsed, dead. The jungle went silent. The other warriors came down, but carefully. No one cheered. No one smiled. They had seen this before. Rava stood over the body, her chest rising and falling. But something in her eyes was wrong. Her breathing grew faster. Her hands clenched. She turned, and her eyes locked on her own tribe. Then she attacked them. One warrior raised his shield. She knocked it away with one swing. Another tried to speak. She smashed him to the ground. Her fury was like a fire, burning everything, even those she loved. It took 6 warriors and an energy net to bring her down. When they finally chained her to the stone post, she was still growling. Her body was covered in sweat and blood, not hers. She struggled against the metal cuffs, but they held tight. The tribe leader, Zarna, stood in front of her. She was tall and proud, with gold markings on her armor. "You are not a warrior," Zarna said coldly. "You are a danger to us all. Too wild. Too broken." Rava laughed, low and bitter. "Then let me go into the deep jungle," she spat. "Let the shadows eat me." Zarna didn't blink. "No. You will serve another way. You will investigate the sky fire that fell to the west." Everyone looked up. Smoke had been rising for hours from the far mountains. Something had fallen from the sky. A fireball with metal wings. "A crash," someone whispered. "A star curse," said another. Zarna spoke again. "You will go alone. No food, no weapon. If you live, maybe you are more than rage. If not, then you were never one of us." Rava said nothing. They cut her chains. She stood tall, rubbed her wrists, and walked toward the smoke without a descent. The jungle grew quiet as she moved. Rava didn't care about orders. She didn't care about the tribe. Her heart was burning. She hated the way they looked at her, like she was a monster, not a warrior. But still, she walked toward the fire. Hours passed. The ground grew soft. Trees gave way to ash. The air smelled of burning metal. She reached the edge of a wide clearing, and there it was. A massive ship had fallen from the sky. Its wings were broken. The hull was cracked and glowing. Flames licked the edges. Sparks flew from torn wires. Smoke curled into the air like ghosts. Rava narrowed her eyes. She stepped closer. Then she saw a movement. A figure stepped out of the fire. Small, thin, strange. 2 arms, 2 legs, pale skin, cloth over his body. No armor, no weapon. It was a human. He looked up at the giant alien standing in front of him, 10 feet tall, covered in scars, glowing with power, and he smiled. "Hey," he said, voice calm. "You wouldn't happen to have some water, would you?" Rava froze. This creature was not afraid, not even a little, and for the first time in her life, neither was she. The human who didn't run. The flames hissed as twisted metal groaned beneath the wrecked ship. The clearing was still except for the soft crackling of fire and the heavy breathing of a 10-foot-tall alien woman staring down at a strange, smiling human. Rava's golden eyes narrowed. Her tribe had spoken of humans before, small, weak, and fragile, soft meat in thin skin, creatures of talk, not war, but this one stood calm. Too calm. He was short, no higher than her waist, with dark hair, brown eyes, and skin pink, like sunset. A dusty jacket clung to his frame and blood trickled from a cut above his brow. But even as smoke curled around him, even as death stood inches from his face, he smiled. "I'm not hallucinating, right?" he said. "You're real?" Rava didn't answer. Her body was tense, ready to strike. Her eyes moved quickly, checking for weapons, traps, signs of others. But the ship was silent. He was alone. "You don't speak English?" the man asked, raising a brow. "Okay, I'll try this. He held up both hands, palms out, slowly. "Not here to fight," Rava growled low in her throat. A warning. The sound made birds flee the trees. Her body towered over him like a mountain made of rage and scars. Still, he didn't flinch. Instead, he gave a small nod, then bent down and picked up a cracked water canister. "Okay, clearly not the talkative type," he muttered. "Name's Jack, by the way, Jack Carter, captain, or well, used to be." He shook the empty canister and gave it a look. "Yeah, that's about right." Rava tilted her head. "Captain? Of what?" This ship was no war vessel. It looked like a cargo transport, maybe even civilian. "You alone?" she asked finally, her voice deep and sharp like a blade against rock. Jack looked up, surprised, then grinned. "You speak. That's a relief. I was starting to think I'd have to do interpretive dance to stay alive." Rava didn't smile. "I'm alone," he continued. "Crew's gone. Most didn't survive the impact. The few who did, well, let's just say they weren't team players." He gave a dry laugh. "You don't need to worry. It's just me now." Rava stepped closer, scanning the wreckage. Her feet crunched metal. The ship had clearly been shot down. Marks from plasma blasts dotted the hull. Not a simple crash. "What happened?" she asked. Jack's smile faded slightly. "Let's just say someone didn't want us delivering what we had on board." She looked at him sharply. "What were you carrying?" Jack hesitated. "Classified," he said, still smiling. But this time it didn't reach his eyes. Rava stepped, even closer until her shadow swallowed him. "You lie." Jack met her gaze. "Do I look like a guy with secrets left to keep? My ship's toast, my crew's gone, and I'm stranded on a planet where the locals are 10 feet tall and carry me, like luggage." Rava grunted. She was trying to decide something, whether to kill him perhaps or take him back. But more than that, something else pulled at her. Curiosity. This human should be afraid, terrified. But he wasn't. He talked like they were old friends. He smiled in the face of a warrior who had crushed monsters twice his size. He was not normal. She turned and began walking. "Follow." Jack blinked. "Wait, that's it? You're not going to kill me?" Rava didn't answer. She just kept walking. Jack grabbed a small pack from the wreck, slung it over his shoulder, and hurried after her. "Well, that's a win. Thanks, giant lady." "My name is Rava," she said over her shoulder. "Rava. Got it." Jack smiled again, this time softer. "Thanks, Rava." Hours later, the jungle closed around them as they walked. Jack kept talking, mostly to himself. He told stories of Earth, of spaceports and station bars, of a planet with blue skies and oceans that went on forever. Rava didn't reply, but she listened. No one had ever talked to her like that before. No fear, no worship. Just talk. By dusk, they reached a river. Rava stopped. She motioned for Jack to rest. She crouched by the water, eyes watching the tree line. "You're not going to leave me out here, are you?" Jack asked. "No," she said simply. "Why not?" She looked at him. "I don't know yet." Jack gave a quiet laugh. "Fair enough." They sat in silence. The stars began to show above the trees. Jack looked up at them and sighed. "Never thought I'd die on a jungle moon with an alien giantess watching my back." "You talk too much," Rava said. He looked at her with a grin. "You fight too much." She raised an eyebrow, then something almost like a smile touched the corner of her mouth. That night, while Jack slept by the fire, Rava stood watch. Her sharp ears caught every sound, every rustle. But her eyes kept drifting to the man beside, the flames. He was not like the others, not like her tribe who feared her, not like her enemies who died screaming, not like the monsters she crushed underfoot. He was something else. And deep in the jungle, something watched them too. Something, ancient and silent, awakened by the ship's crash. It had seen the fire fall, and now it was hunting. The jungle hunts back. The moon above the jungle was a pale blue eye, watching silently from the dark sky. Shadows shifted between the trees. The leaves didn't rustle, they twitched. Something moved through the undergrowth, unseen. And far, too quiet. Rava stood still as a stone. She had been hearing it for hours. Soft movement just beyond the firelight. Not animal, not wind, not the human. Something else. Jack snored softly near the fire, wrapped in a silver thermal blanket taken from the wreckage. His chest rose and fell steadily. He was finally asleep, trusting her even in the middle of a planet he barely understood. Foolish or brave. Rava wasn't sure which. She crouched and pressed 2 fingers to the ground. Warm. Still. But there. It was again. A vibration. Faint. A step, then silence. Another step. Closer. Predator. Her eyes flicked up. Nothing. No movement. No glow. Not even a reflection. But something was there. Watching. Waiting. She rose silently to her full height and picked up the large bone blade strapped across her back. Her grip was calm. She had faced beasts with fangs longer than Jack's arm. But something about this felt different. She took a step forward. The jungle answered with silence. Not even the insects sang. Jack's dream breaks. Jack shifted in his sleep, breathing heavy. He dreamt of Earth, of flying ships and glowing cities. He saw a woman's face, someone he had left behind. Then suddenly, something sharp clicked in the dark. The dream shattered. His eyes snapped open. The fire had burned low, and Rava was gone. He sat up, heart racing. Rava? No answer. He grabbed a small flashlight from his pack and switched it on. A narrow beam of light cut through the dark, revealing claw marks on a tree. Deep ones. Jack's throat tightened. This isn't good. Then, a loud crack from the jungle. He spun around, but saw nothing. Rava! He shouted. Rava stalks the stalker. She moved like a ghost through the trees, her enormous frame silent. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark. Tribal markings lit up in dull gold as her blood pulsed faster. She was hunting now. But the problem was, whatever it was also hunting her. Suddenly, a sharp hiss cut through the trees. Not from behind, from above. She looked up just as something lunged, black scales, 6 legs, a mouthful of teeth that opened sideways. It slammed into her with bone-breaking force. She hit the ground hard but rolled, grabbing the creature by its throat and heaving it sideways. It shrieked, a terrible echoing sound. Rava growled and stabbed forward, but the beast was fast. It vanished into the trees like smoke. Rava's blade dripped black blood, but her arms were scratched. Deep. The beast was strong, and it was just testing her. Jack runs into darkness. Jack didn't think. He ran. His legs pushed through vines, over rocks across thick roots. Rava! He yelled again. Suddenly, a blur of motion. Something large ran past him, low to the ground. It was fast, so fast he couldn't fully see it. But the shape was wrong. Not a wolf, not a panther. And its eyes glowed red. He tripped, fell hard onto the jungle floor. When he looked up, the beast was circling back. The first kill Rava heard Jack scream. She didn't hesitate. She ran to fast, heavy, terrifying. Every tree she passed shook. When she broke through the clearing, she saw the beast leaping toward Jack, claws out, mouth wide, but she was faster. With a scream of rage, Rava tackled the creature midair. They both crashed into the ground, rolling through mud and leaves. Jack scrambled back as Rava roared and slammed her blade into the beast's neck. It shrieked again, but this time, it didn't get up. Black blood spilled everywhere. The smell was like acid. Jack sat frozen, panting, eyes wide. What is that thing? Rava stood, breathing hard. A night maw, jungle demon. They come when fire falls. Jack stared at the body. How many are there? Rava turned her head to the shadows. Her eyes narrowed. Too many. The truth beneath, they returned to the camp quickly. Rava kept her blade in her hand now. Jack relit the fire, stronger this time. They sat near the flames, both silent for a while. Finally, Jack broke the quiet. You knew something was out there, didn't you? Yes, she said. They come for weakness. And your tribe still sent you out here alone? Rava didn't respond. Jack looked at her. Why do they fear you? Her golden eyes glinted. Because I don't kneel. Jack gave a small smile. Good reason. A pause. Then she asked, why did your crew turn on you? He looked at the fire. Because I didn't lie. Rava studied him. There was pain in his voice. Not weakness, but something else. A scar inside. We were hired to deliver medical supplies to a rebel colony, Jack said. But halfway there, we learned the supplies were tainted. Biotech, poison disguised, as help. Sabotage, worse. It was a test run. My crew wanted the credits, I refused. They tried to kill me, I crashed the ship instead. Rava looked at him with new eyes. Not just small, not just fragile. Defiant, like her. The warning that. Night Rava didn't sleep. She watched the jungle burn with quiet red eyes. Then, a sound. Not the jungle. A deep humming, from above. She looked up and saw something in the sky. Not a star, a ship, not human, not hers. It floated silently above the clouds, watching. The eyes in the sky. The sky wasn't supposed to hum. Rava stood at the edge of the camp, her massive figure still and alert. The fire behind her crackled softly, casting flickering shadows across the trees. But she didn't move. She stared upward. There it was again. A shape too smooth for clouds, too silent for a bird, too large for anything natural. A ship, but not human. Not hers. It was hovering behind the clouds, only barely visible. A dark silhouette blotting out stars. Watching. Waiting. Rava narrowed her eyes. She had seen warships before. Her people had traded with several outer systems. But this one felt different. Its silence was too perfect, as if it didn't fly through the sky. It slid through it. Jack wakes to trouble Jack, stirred under the thermal blanket, groaning. His arm still hurt from the fall. His head ached. He rolled over to see Rava standing in the dark like a statue, her eyes fixed on the stars. Rava? He called out. She didn't answer. He got up, rubbing his shoulder. You okay? She finally spoke, voice low. We're not alone. Jack froze. He followed her gaze and saw it. The shape in the sky. It wasn't moving, not toward them, not away, just floating. I thought no one knew I crashed here, Jack muttered. Rava didn't blink. Someone does now. The message. Suddenly, a loud beep from Jack's SATCOM wrist unit. He jumped, startled. The device hadn't worked since the crash. He pressed the side. Static buzzed, then a voice. A distorted, robotic voice, speaking a language neither of them recognized. Jack stared at the screen. The symbols flashing across it weren't Earth script, Not galactic standard, not anything from the known chart. But Rava's eyes widened. She knew them. Ancients, she whispered. Jack turned. What? She took a slow step back from the device. This language is from the stone arches, forbidden tablets, old as the bones of my people. Jack stared at her. You're saying, this ship isn't just alien, it's ancient? Rava's voice was almost a growl. It shouldn't exist. Then, the voice repeated, clearer this time. And this time, it said a name. Rava. Jack's blood ran cold. They know her. She stared at the sky. The clouds shifted, glowing faintly, blue now. The ship moved, barely, but enough to show that it was alive. A hunter in the sky. Why would they know your name? Jack asked. Rava's jaw clenched. I don't know. But she did. Somewhere deep inside, a memory itched. A story told when she was young, about a child born under a red eclipse. A child who tore through warriors and couldn't be controlled. The elders said she had ancient blood, but it was just legend. A tale to scare children. Right? Jack stepped beside her. What if they're not here for me? What if they came for you? She looked down at him and didn't answer, because she wasn't sure what scared her more. The idea that they came for Jack, or that they didn't. The scouting drone, a sudden whine split the night air. Rava pushed Jack down, covering him with one massive arm. Something zipped overhead, fast, thin, and sharp. A drone. It looked like a spider made of glass and smoke, with long legs and a glowing red eye. It hovered above them for 1 second too long. Rava threw a spear. The drone dodged, but not fast enough. The spear clipped it, and the drone spiraled down into the trees with a flash of sparks. Then, silence. Jack panted. That thing saw us, Rava nodded, and now the ship knows exactly where we are. Into the deep jungle. We have to move, Rava said, already packing. To where? Jack asked, grabbing his bag. She didn't answer, not with words. She started running. Fast, powerful strides that shattered branches and kicked up leaves. Jack followed as best he could. They ran deeper into the jungle, past ruined temples and bone-covered altars. Jack had never seen this part of the forest. It didn't feel like jungle anymore, it felt like a graveyard. Finally, Rava stopped near a massive stone gate covered in vines. The door was shaped like an ancient beast's open mouth, jagged, dark, and dripping with moss. Jack hesitated. This looks like a bad idea. Rava touched the side of the gate. The stone lit up, golden symbols glowing under her fingers. It's the only place they won't follow. The gate opened with a groan that sounded like a dying animal. Inside was darkness, but not empty. Jack could feel it. Something was alive in there, and it was waiting. The forbidden depths. The tunnel inside twisted downward, beneath the roots of the world. The air smelled old, like dust and stone and forgotten wars. Jack turned on his flashlight. Every wall was covered in markings. Some looked like stars, others like battle maps. He saw symbols that matched the ones on his satcom, and in the center, a mural. A tall woman, eyes glowing gold, a human figure at her side. Together they stood over the body of a great beast, while ships rained fire from the sky. Jack stared. Rava, that's you. She didn't respond, but her breath caught. The murals told a story, a war, an alliance, a betrayal, a bloodline, and at the end, a sealed door. When they reached it, Rava placed her hand on the center. It opened. Inside was a single object, a weapon, not made by humans, not by her people, but for her. The caretaker's Awakena. Weapon did not look like a weapon. It was shaped like a spiral, smooth black metal that shimmered with gold veins. It hovered slightly above a stone pedestal, humming softly, as if it were breathing. Rava didn't touch it. She just stared, frozen. Jack stepped closer. What Is it? Her voice was barely a whisper. A key. A key to what? She didn't answer because she didn't know. The vault reacts without warning. The spiral lit up. Lines of golden light pulsed across its surface, running in patterns like rivers. A high-pitched tone echoed through the vault. Jack covered his ears. Turn it off. Rava reached for it, but the moment her fingers brushed the surface, the spiral sank into her palm. It merged with her. A bright flash filled the chamber. Jack stumbled backward. Rava screamed, not in pain, but in power. Energy surged through her body, lighting up the old tattoos on her arms. Symbols that had never glowed before. She fell to her knees, gasping, then silence. Complete silence. The eye in the vault. Before Jack could speak, a deep rumble shook the vault. A hidden panel in the wall slid open. Inside was not more stone or weapons, but an eye, mechanical, massive, glowing red. It blinked once, then a voice echoed through the chamber. Calm, ancient, cold. Unauthorized awakening detected. Bloodline match confirmed. Caretakers en route. Termination imminent. Jack's heart dropped. Rava. What the hell is a caretaker? She stood slowly. Her voice was shaking now. Killers, guardians of the old systems. They come when something sacred is disturbed. Like that key? He pointed at her hand. She didn't nod. She didn't have to. The air around them suddenly shifted. The temperature dropped. The gold light faded. And outside, the jungle screamed. The arrival. They ran back through the tunnel out the beastmouth gate. But the jungle was no longer green. Everything had gone gray. Ash fell from the sky like snow, and the trees were dying. Jack turned in circles. This wasn't here an hour ago. He stopped. Floating above the treetops were three black figures, tall, thin, not quite shaped like any known species. No wings, no faces, just sleek armor and glowing spines. They didn't fly. They hovered, and every plant near them withered. Rava grabbed Jack's hand. Run! They sprinted through the fading jungle, ducking behind stones and ruins. But one caretaker turned its head, or what passed for a head, and began following them. No sound, no speech, just motion, like death, floating silently. A deadly chase. They jumped a cliff edge, sliding down the moss-covered rocks. Behind them, the caretaker descended. It didn't chase fast. It didn't need to. It was precise. Every time they turned, it appeared ahead, as if time bent for it. Finally, they reached an old cave system. Rava shoved Jack inside. I can't outrun it like you, Jack gasped. I don't need to outrun it, Rava growled. I need to fight it. You said they can't be killed. I said my people can't kill them. She raised her arm. The spiral-shaped key burned gold on her palm. I'm not just my people anymore. The first strike. She stepped out into the open. The caretaker floated down less than 20 feet above the ground now. Then it moved, not walked, not ran. It glitched forward, like a broken image, and struck with a long blade of energy. Rava blocked it with her forearm. The impact threw her back, smashing her into a boulder. Jack screamed, Rava! She got up slowly, bleeding, but alive. And the weapon on her palm was now fully awake. Gold lines ran down her arm, spreading over her shoulder and chest. She raised her hand, and the ground shook. Energy pulsed from her palm in a wide wave. The caretaker staggered back, not hurt, but surprised. That gave her time. She charged, a 10-foot titan with nothing to lose. Unleashing the ancient power, they fought in silence. No words, no cries, just shockwaves and sparks. Every hit from the caretaker cut stone. Every hit from Rava cracked the air. She took blows that would kill a normal warrior, and stood taller each time. Jack watched in awe, helpless, as Rava unleashed strikes powered by something far older than strength. Legacy. The key was not just a weapon. It was A memory. It remembered the bloodline it came from, the promise made, the war lost, and it wanted revenge. Rava drove her glowing fist into the caretaker's chest. A blast of energy exploded outward. The jungle went still. The caretaker fell, silent and dead, for the first time in who knows how long. But Rava didn't cheer. She dropped to one knee, exhausted, her hand smoking. The warning Jack rushed to her side. "You did it!" She shook her head. "I stopped one." She looked up, past the treetops. The clouds above were now lit with red cracks. Dozens more shapes were descending, dozens of caretakers, all heading straight for them, and behind them, a larger figure, twice their size, ancient, armored, burning, like a falling star. Rava's voice was full of dread. "That's not a caretaker. That's their warden." The return of the exile ash still fell from the sky, but now the wind carried another sound, deep and distant, like thunder, but it wasn't a storm, it was marching. Caregivers, dozens of them, dropping from the clouds like silent bombs. And behind them the warden, a titan of metal and hate, pierced the sky like a falling god. Rava watched from the cliffside, eyes fixed on the horizon. Jack stood beside her, still catching his breath. "We can't fight that. Not alone." She didn't look at him. "We won't." Back to the tribe. They reached the village at dusk. The jungle behind them was dying fast, trees turning gray, animals fleeing in every direction. As Rava stepped out into the open clearing, every pair of alien eyes turned to her. Shock, fear, whispers spread fast. "The wild one has returned. She still lives?" "She's glowing," Jack noticed. Rava's body still shimmered faintly with golden patterns, the key now part of her blood. She was something else now. More than warrior, less than god. And her tribe knew it. The elders came out first, tall, armored, draped in woven chains and feathers of status. Chief Ziran stepped forward. "You were banished." Rava's voice was calm but firm. "I returned to warn you." Ziran narrowed his eyes. "We do not take orders from beasts." Jack stepped forward. "Then take one from me." The crowd gasped. A human speaking in the center of the tribe? Unheard of. Ziran laughed coldly. "You bring us your pet now. Do you expect us to bow to him?" "No," Rava said. "I expect you to listen, or die." The vision without warning, Rava raised her hand. Golden energy sparked into the sky, forming a sphere of light above the gathering. Inside the light, images appeared, memories, visions, warnings. They saw the vault. They saw the caretakers. They saw the warden, falling like fire. They felt its power. Elder Mira fell to her knees. This is not madness. It is truth." Ziran wavered. His pride was thick, his spine stiff, but even he could not ignore the truth of the key. He stepped back. "Then what do you want from us?" Rava looked around at the tribe. "You chained me because I was too wild." She raised her voice. "You said I didn't belong. But what's coming doesn't care about our laws, our past, our fear. It will erase us. Unless we fight." The silence was heavy. Then one voice called out, a young hunter, barely grown. "I will fight." Another voice joined, and another, until the whole clearing echoed. For the wild one, for the protector, for survival. Preparing for war. That night the village transformed. Old weapons were pulled from caves, hidden machines were unearthed, old tech from the forgotten wars. Rava and Jack worked alongside the tribe, preparing armor, setting traps in the jungle, and drawing battle lines. Jack taught them human tactics, how to flank, how to time charges, how to think. Like engineers, Rava trained new warriors in silence. Her strikes were faster now, her energy sharper. She barely slept. Neither did Jack, because the red sky never faded now, and the stars were moving. The final warning. The next morning, a shape appeared above the village. Not a caretaker. A drone. Small, sleek, and silent. It hovered over the fire pit, projecting a tall figure in dark armor, the warden. But it did not speak like a machine. It spoke like a judge. This world belongs to the old order. Unauthorized awakening detected. Return the key. Or be erased. Rava stepped forward. Her answer was simple. She raised her hand and crushed the drone mid-air. The calm. Before that evening, as the village rested before battle, Rava stood alone near the cliff's edge. Jack found her there, arms crossed, the wind brushing her long braids. "You did it," he said. "They're ready." "They're scared," she replied. "So are you." She turned to him. "I'm not supposed to lead them. I'm the outcast." Jack smiled. "Maybe. But right now, you're the only one who can." A long silence followed. Then, she asked softly, "Will you stay with me? If I fall?" Jack looked her in the eyes. "I didn't tame you, Rava. I stood beside you. And I will. To the end." For the first time, Rava smiled. Then her eyes turned back to the stars. "They're almost here." The wild and the warden, the sky ripped open. Not slowly, not quietly. It tore like cloth under fire, and through it came the warden. A titan, black and red, larger than any ship Jack had ever seen. It floated down like a mountain wrapped in thunder, its glowing red eye locked on one thing, the key, which now lived inside Rava. Around her, the tribe had taken position. They had never fought a true machine. They had never faced extinction. But tonight, they stood behind the one they once called. Wild because she was their only chance. Rava narrowed her eyes. "No more running." The first strike. The jungle shook as the caretakers landed first. Dozens of spider-like machines with burning eyes and spinning limbs. The tribe unleashed everything. Spears tipped with plasma, slings of firestone, booby traps that lit the forest like lightning. Jack, with 2 repurposed shock rifles, led the western flank. "Hit the joints." "The joints!" he shouted. Explosions echoed. Screams followed. But for every caretaker destroyed, another landed. Rava fought like a storm. Her body danced between trees, golden energy slicing through steel. She took down 3 at once, then her fists now weapons of heat and force. But the warden still hadn't moved. It just watched, like it was waiting. The turning point. The tribe pushed the machines back to the river edge. Victory felt close. Too close. Then, it happened. From the sky, a massive beam slammed into the battlefield. The earth split. Warriors flew through the air. Trees turned to ash in a heartbeat. The warden had entered the fight. It descended fully now, 20 feet taller than even Rava. Its arms unfolded like scythes, its voice shaking the ground. "The key belongs to the forge. Organic defiance will be eliminated. Initiating null zone." A ripple burst out from its core, and everything stopped. Guns died. Fire froze. Even Rava stumbled. Her energy dimmed. Jack's rifle clicked uselessly. "EMP field." "No. Worse," Rava said, clutching her chest. "It's killing the key inside me." Jack's secret. Just as Rava dropped to one knee, her glow fading, Jack stepped in front of her. He pulled something from his belt. A small chip, blinking blue. "Override code, Alpha 12. The warden paused. "Recognized." Suddenly, the red eye flickered, its beam faltered. For a moment, just one moment, the Titan hesitated. Rava looked up, stunned. "You—" Jack didn't smile. "I told you I crashed here. That was only part true." "What are you?" "I was part of the original team that built the Warden. Program? A bioengineer. The last human alive from the Forge War. I didn't just find the key." He looked into her glowing eyes. "I hid it in the one person I believed could survive it. You." The final battle with the Warden distracted. Rava felt the key pulse inside her again. The glow returned. brighter than before. "Get back," she told Jack. He did. She rose, and she ran, straight at the machine that once made her. Tribe tremble. The final fight was not quiet. It was chaos. Rava leapt from a broken cliff, striking the warden's arm. The metal bent. She dodged beams, tore off limbs, and finally landed on the warden's head. "You called me wild. Now meet the storm." She plunged her hand into its core, the key inside her exploding in light. For a moment, the jungle became a sun. And then, silence. Aftermath smoke curled above the broken field. The warden was gone, melted into the earth. The sky returned to blue. The tribe emerged, covered in ash and blood, but alive. Rava stood in the center, glowing no more, her body marked. With golden scars, still strong, still towering, but no longer wild. A young child approached her. "Are you the queen now?" Rava looked at Jack. "No," she said. "I'm just free." Epilogue. Weeks later, Jack prepared to leave. The tribe rebuilt. Caretakers gone. Peace. For now. Rava walked him to the edge of the new ship. Her voice was softer now. "You saved me." He smiled. "You saved everyone." He stepped inside the ship. But just before the door closed, Rava reached in and kissed him. It was not gentle. It was fire. "Come back," she whispered, "or I'll come find you." The door closed, and Jack smiled the whole way into orbit. The end.